My name is Hans Langner. I'm called the Birdman. And I'm an artist for 27 years, working in painting, sculpting. I write, I compose, I do installations. This is actually my favorite part, doing installations. This was actually very beautiful. I started when I was 26 years old. I was living in a share flat. And Oliver, the guy I was staying with, he met with a friend like once a week or every second week. And they were painting and I was sitting next to them, envying them, wanting to paint as well. But they never asked me. So yeah, the months went by and they painted and I was sitting next to them watching TV. And one evening the second guy didn't come. So this was supposed to be my evening because Oliver asked me if I would like to use this white canvas, and I literally jumped on the canvas, painting it within minutes, abstract painting, just colors. And yeah, after this explosion of creativity, I wanted to paint more. So I was searching the house and the cellar and I couldn't find anything. So I decided to leave the house and I said I will find something. And we have something in Germany which is brilliant. Every 3 months they put out their big garbage that doesn't fit in the garbage bin. So it was that day of the putting the garbage in the street. So, and I didn't have to walk far, just really next door they were standing about 20 huge pieces of wood, half door sizes. And I carried them home. And it was really, it hit me, or it was like an addiction. I couldn't stop till they were all finished. So I painted the whole night through till about 4 o'clock in the morning, till all the paint was finished and till all the canvases or the wooden panels were painted. And this was my first experience with art, and I felt that something has entered my life which was not there before. It hit me. I felt energetic, alive, vibrant, happy, inspired. I never painted before, only school stuff. Yeah, and that night I couldn't imagine, or I couldn't think or dream of that I would ever become an artist. And it developed step by step. And now I'm here 27 years later, still painting. I became the Birdman. This was actually a beautiful story. I was living in Hong Kong for 3.5 years. And in Hong Kong, I dedicated my work mainly to improvisation performance. The less time I have, the more creative I am. So I limited my time to 3 days. And within these 3 days, stage set had to be ready, costume, light and sound. So it was the 3rd day, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. the guests were supposed to come and everything was ready except the costume. I was running out of time. So only 2 more hours. But when something like this happens, I kind of opened myself and then it just falls into me. So all of a sudden it came feathers. I've never worked with feathers before, so I had no time to leave the house to buy feathers. What did I do? I ran into the bedroom, ripped the cushion open, had feathers. When I do performance, nothing is safe from me. I paint on everything, or I use anything. I would use any furniture, any carpet, any whatever. Yeah, so then I had the feathers, and the feathers had to become a costume. I had no time to sew or do anything with it, so I mainly go the fastest and easiest way, so I needed something sticky or gluey. I could not find anything, so I searched in the kitchen, also in the fridge, and in the fridge I found a huge glass of honey. So I took the honey, covered myself completely, all over the body, the honey, stood in the cushion and took the feathers and transformed within minutes into a bird. Very, very simple, very primitive costume. It was itching like hell. I was dripping like hell. The honey was getting warm through my body, but the feathers still kept on the body. So this was my first transformation to a bird. And from my point of view, this was my best performance until then. So I only did bird performances from that day on. I usually did them in Hong Kong once a month. And I was transforming on stage from human to a bird, or from bird to a human, or I was putting myself into cages and free myself from the cages. Very often I was a bird in a cage, so I freed the bird from the cage, and then I freed the bird from the bird turning into a human. So I did very often these transformation things. And after the third or fourth performance, a journalist came. He was in the audience, and he wrote afterwards, "The Birdman of Hong Kong." Yeah, so this was it. I read it and I liked it and I adopted it. I thought it's cool. It's like Batman and Spider-Man and Catwoman, so I was the Birdman. And I celebrated that, so I continued bird performances and bird performances and bird performances, not stopping at all. Many variations. I was very excited, actually. Very exciting. And then 1 year later, after a performance festival in Hong Kong, a Chinese man came to me and he said, "You are the Birdman and you don't paint birds?" And I thought, oh my God, what a brilliant idea. I've never thought about this. I was completely focused on the performance. So I went home that night painting the first birds. And this was 1997. 1996, I became the Birdman. 1997, I painted the first birds. So I just had my 20th anniversary painting birds. And sometimes people ask me, is it not boring to paint always only birds? And I have a quite simple answer to that. It's not boring at all. I just started painting birds because each bird I paint, this world has never seen before. So each bird is unique and here for the first time. So how can this ever be boring? And I have no limitation on materials. So each bird is going to be painted on a different material, or I make birds out of different materials. So for me, each time it's completely new and completely unique, and there's actually hardly any repeating. And each bird, and this is the thing, I've painted thousands and thousands and thousands of birds. I have no clue, 10,000, 20,000 birds maybe? I have no idea. And the challenge is that each bird looks different. So, yeah. And being very simple within the birds. Because each bird is so simple. It's a triangle for the beak, it's a circle for the body, it's a dot for the eye, and 2 lines for the legs. And within this simple thing, I do variations. Sometimes they get a wing, sometimes they get 3 feathers, they get a bigger body, a thinner body. longer legs. Yeah. My daily life has no routine at all. Each day is unique and completely different. As an artist, I have the luxurious, well, what I consider luxurious, not to use an alarm clock. So I just get up when I wake up. Sometimes I sleep 6 hours, sometimes I sleep 12. It's anything in between. So no sleeping routine at all. I go to bed when I'm tired. I work whenever I want to. I work a lot. Usually I work every day, at least a couple hours. If I'm in a workflow, I work 12, 14 hours. I can do this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Because my work is for me joy, pleasure, fun, exciting, experimenting, routineless. Yeah. So every day is different. Very often I hunt for materials. So lately, let's say since about 3 years, I paint mainly on tapestries and gobelins, like background. And so it starts by finding them. So I go to antique shops, I go to flea markets. Lots of them I buy on eBay because people inherit them and they don't want them because the grandma died and they don't know what to do with it. Lucky for me. Yeah, that's about my daily life. So each day is different and I don't know what happens tomorrow. And I let guide my life also a lot through what is coming or what is asked. So if a gallerist comes and says, I would like to do an exhibition with tapestries, then I paint tapestries if I don't have enough. If a museum director comes and says, I would like an installation, then I would do an installation. So it's I like the influence from outside, because there's so many things come that I cannot even think about myself. So whenever something comes, I think if I look at it, and if I like it, I do it. If not, I say nicely no. I consider my art positive, happy, joyful, elegant, fancy, primitive. So all these things people respond to very much. Children do respond very, very, very strong to my birds. It just hits them directly. Because I think why? They just look at them and they don't think about them. And I usually say I paint my art you can only see with the heart. You cannot see it with brains. So people who are too intelligent or have too much, or looking with too much intellect at my work, they don't see the beauty. They sometimes think it's too simple or it's too childish or something. Yeah, but this doesn't influence me at all. It's their way of looking, because I feel what I'm doing is the right thing, because I share through my art joy, simplicity, love, and these are things that this world needs desperately. So I would encourage every young person to create, And I would say to a young artist, go for what you feel. Do it, do it, do it. Continue, experiment as much as possible. Try all different kinds of things, because art is an experiment. And then try to find a unique way of expressing. Because you can do art to create or to enjoy. It's beautiful. Nothing against that. But if you want to pursue a career as an artist, you have to have something unique that nobody else has. Otherwise, it will not work. So, and I found it through experiments. I was constantly experimenting, and I'm still experimenting. I'm constantly searching for new materials. I have no limitations at all. So I'm constantly keep my eyes wide open. I also listen to other things that come. Like I said before, Birdman was not my idea. Painting birds was not my idea. But I made it to my thing. So the idea, because when I was younger, I always had the idea, I have to invent it. It has to be my thing. Who cares? This guy was just an initiation telling me to paint birds. And I never knew that I would paint 20 years birds, you know? So I thought because I changed so often as a young artist, so I thought I might paint birds for 3 months or 2 months or something, and then I would stop. But this has been the main theme of my art. Yeah. My plans for the future. Well, let's start in my studio. I'm transforming lately my complete studio to an installation. And it's a very exciting process, because actually I have a very, very, very pure, sleek, bright, with lots of light, airy, whitewashed studio, brand new, redone. And I actually hesitated a bit to do it, but I turned this bright studio into a dark something, because I closed up all the windows. And all the beautiful whitewashed walls are gonna be covered with my work. But I'm living for the art and not for this room. So the art has priority and the room has to abide. Yeah, and to devote for art. And this is actually my life. This is a very beautiful thing that's just coming up, that I didn't point out like this before. I devoted myself to art. Yeah, for me it's the most beautiful thing I can do. I can imagine, because being creative is a amazing process. You bring something to this planet that has never, ever, ever, ever been there before. So it's creating. It's like, yeah, it's miraculous in a way. And the thing is, the longer I'm creative, the more easy it is to be creative, because sometimes people ask me if I'm not running out of ideas. I can never run out of ideas. I have 10,000 ideas in the drawer that I haven't done yet. So, and the more I work, the more ideas I get. Yeah, so the studio is the first plan. So I have a beautiful project relating to that. It's called Uncagement. This is a self-creation. So this word didn't exist before. And uncagement means destroying cages. Because each cage that is destroyed doesn't exist on this world anymore. So the more cages we eliminate, the less cages we have. So if you have a cage at home, in the cellar or somewhere else, go destroy it. And this world has one cage less. And if an animal is in there, release it. And if a bird is in there, release it. And then some people might say, well, it's not the bird's environment, or it's too cold, or it might freeze to death, or it might starve to death, or another animal might eat it. Yes, that's true. But if I'm a bird, I would prefer to fly for one day than to be a whole life in prison. Yeah, so because that's what they're made for, to fly, and not spend their life in cages. So let's go for the uncagement. Destroy all the cages! In the very near future, there's a beautiful project which is happening very, very soon, 18th till 21st of January. My work is going to be presented at the Outside Art Fair in New York with Carl Hammer Gallery from Chicago. And this has been like one of my biggest dreams since 25 years, to exhibit in the US. So this is my first time. And let's see how the audience reacts, because my work has never been seen from such a wide audience internationally. The source of my inspiration is what's inside or what's coming out. And sometimes I'm really amazed what is all coming out. So when I look at it, I don't know where it's coming from. It appears. Sometimes I have the feeling it almost creates itself. So it's flowing through me in a way. So I see it's just a body creating things. The body is like a medium to bring it. And as I said before, I dedicated this life to art, because for me it's one of the most precious things to do. And yeah, and it's so exciting to be on this path, because I have no idea where it will take me and who will see it and react to it and brings new ideas and inspires me with other things, because I would consider myself a very, very open person. So I'm taking things that come. I'm a good receiver. Yeah, a good receiver and transformer as well. Because also, and my inspiration is very often use things, or things that exist, so transforming these. Or sometimes I just have to do a tiny thing to it, and then it becomes an artwork. Because lots of things are so beautiful already, because somebody else has created something beautiful. And it's just not honored anymore because this person has died, so it ends up on the flea market. And it's worth nothing, and I get it, and I give it the old soul again, like by honoring it and appreciating it. Yeah. My message is very simple: love and peace. If everybody would live like I live, we would have peace tomorrow on this whole planet. because I live from a perspective of not hurting anybody or anything. I try. Of course, I'm not perfect, and sometimes you might have a conversation and you hurt somebody without even knowing, but if they don't tell you, you don't know how to change it. So I try to be as careful as possible, and I consider myself a happy, friendly, nice person. Taking care of each other's, and then I have to come back to the animals as well. Stop kill others. And just by buying animal products, you are the one who kill them. Because you tell the other ones to kill, that you can eat them. So don't forget this. This is an important message, because we don't have the right to kill anything at all. A second message is, do everything today, what you want to do. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow might not exist. This is like one of my biggest rules. When I have an idea or something appears, I do it now. I don't wait. I don't understand this sentence. I do this and that when I retire. Oh my God, it's the biggest joke in the world. You will never do it, because you will not live when you are retired. Or you're going to be that sick that you cannot even move. Do it now. Everything. Now, 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 now. This is a very important message that I would like to give.